everyone. Welcome. This is one of my favorite guests. I love this guest. Time flies whenever I talk to her, and I learn so much. And it's Dr. Hadar Elbaz, and she has many, many credentials after her name, AP, APDOM, LAC, unbelievable bio. I'm going to read it. Dr. Hadar Elbaz is a functional medicine practitioner and a doctor of acupuncture and Chinese medicine. She has spent time in the Israeli military as well as nursing school and now works to help her patients as holistically as possible. She's an Ironman athlete and a double bronze Olympian in the Jewish Olympics who is passionate about holistic health and helping her patients get to the underlying root cause of their health issues. Dr. Elbaz focuses on detoxification and anti-aging and always looking to find the root cause of dis-ease to help her patients find their vibrant glow from the inside out. And that is the name of at least one of your companies, as I understand it, Vibrant Glow. Dr. Elbaz practices neural therapy injections for scars and prolotherapy injections for pain. She mostly sees patients via telemedicine, but also concierge medicine patients. And she is also the director of functional medicine at the Wellness Company, which is how she came to us, our extended family, our wonderful sponsors at the Wellness Company. So welcome back. You let me call you Dr. Hadar or Hadar, so I will. Please call me Naomi. Welcome. Should we jump right in?
Yes, of course. Thank you so much for having me here again. It's always a pleasure.
Always so fantastic. Well, we have a lot on our list, but let's start with hormones. And one reason I always want to talk to someone with your depth of knowledge about hormones is, obviously because there's so much dysregulation going on. And we've talked to your colleague, Dr. Ben Tapper, about testosterone. I've talked to Dr. Thorpe about, dysregulation of women hormonally, but I don't know that you and I have ever gone in depth about hormones. And I know that you have your own point of view about how we kind of protect hormonal balance. So tell me first, in your practice and in society, what do you see as the main symptoms or problems related to hormonal dysregulation, and what are some things that are causing them?
Sure. Wow, that is a long topic to discuss and bring in all the root causes, which I always look at root cause of why someone is in disharmony and why someone's hormones are in disharmony and dysregulation. So, some of the symptoms that I see that I know someone is definitely irregular, dysregulated with their hormones would be acne, sleep disruption, ESL, sleep disruption.
Disruption is a hormonal disruption? Wow.
It can definitely be one of them, absolutely. Especially, progesterone or estrogen or some kind of an imbalance for sure. It can also be toxins. It can also be, your room temperature, your EMFs. It could be a million things, also what you eat. But we'll get to sleep at another time. But as for hormones, again, acne, sleep, irregular menstrual cycles, dysmenorrhea, which is painful menses, which a lot of women are suffering from, which also accompany clots, heavy clots in their menstrual cycle. Also amenorrhea, no menstrual cycle, or skipping cycles, right? Which we have seen, by the way, a lot of the dysmenorrhea, amenorrhea, irregular cycle. We've seen so much of that since COVID and COVID vaccine. When that has come out, unfortunately, that really has messed up so many women, even if they are not vaccinated, right? So unfortunately, that's really led to big time hormone dysregulation, fatigue, right? Headaches, a lot of women are getting headaches before their menstrual cycle as well. And that's excess estrogen. Let's talk about estrogen dominance, right? This is one of my favorite.
Sorry, did you say estrogen dominance?
Dominance, yeah. So, in the first 2 weeks of the cycle, we have mostly our estrogen, and then estrogen is supposed to drop, and then we're supposed to have progesterone rising before our menstrual cycle, 2 weeks, the latter part of the cycle. And many women, I should say, and I don't know exactly the percentage, I should probably do a better research on that, but many women do suffer from estrogen dominance, which manifests in, the first 2 weeks, they feel great because estrogen is still low and it's just starting to rise. But if it remains dominant and it's not dropping in the second part, then that's when they become PMS, like the premenstrual cycle symptoms and syndrome becomes really bad. And that manifests in, again, headaches, breast tenderness, weight gain, water retention, moodiness, irritability. Some people get severe cramps as well, sleep disorders, insomnia, so many issues with emotions. It can be a nightmare. And I used to experience that. And, looking back at what causes hormone dysregulation, and let's look at that. What's the root cause of that? So let's start with.
Wait, Dr. Hadar, before you go into that, which I'm eager to hear, are those symptoms on the rise as well, post what we know to be the menstrual dysregulation so common with the mRNA injection, like the anger, the irritability, the water retention, those are also on the rise?
Sure.
Okay.
And if you look in Chinese medicine, the liver is responsible for smooth flow of energy. And if the liver energy is stagnant and the liver blood is stagnant and the liver stores blood, if it's stagnant and it's not going to flow smoothly, you're going to have a lot of, and again, the liver is the organ that detoxes and in Western medicine and Chinese medicine, it moves everything in the body. When it gets stagnant, think about it like a ball or a traffic jam. There's an accident and things are not moving. You're sitting there, you're getting angry, you're getting frustrated, things are getting really annoying. Same in the body. So again, the liver will not move the energy, will not move the blood. You're getting dysmenorrhea. You're getting stagnant emotions. You can get amenorrhea because the blood does not want to come out and flow smoothly.
Wow.
So, and I don't remember where I was, but I was looking at the root cause of what causes excess estrogen. And really, if you're looking at xenoestrogens, let's start with xenoestrogens, phthalates, which I'll explain exactly what they are. Xenoestrogens are external estrogens that your body is receiving from environment and from things you're eating, from foods that you're eating, right? And from toxins and plastics. So if someone is using plastics, if someone is using a lot of pesticides, tap water, packaging, foods, packaging, and then they throw it in a microwave and it's in plastic.
Right.
You're freezing your water bottle, it's plastic. You're drinking it. Your body, your plastics will leach it into your body. Microplastics are a real thing, and they mess up and throw your hormones completely, right? And that's what happens. Air fresheners, laundry detergents, perfumes. So anything with non-organic, non-natural scent, we call them phthalates.
Oh.
Phthalates, if you want to spell it, right? But it's pronounced phthalates. And phthalates are xenoestrogens, and they really harm your hormones. They are hormone disruptors.
Wow.
So perfumes, all the women and men who are throwing their perfumes on, not only are they putting it here, which is your thyroid.
Oh my God.
The thyroid, messing up the organs, and anything you breathe, anything you put on your body. So if you're putting lotions, creams, perfumes, detergents, you're wearing the clothes you're washing with non-natural detergents like commercial detergents, putting it on your body, then you're consuming tap water, you're consuming, plastics, you're consuming even the makeup you wear. If it's not organic, if it has perfumes, it has chemicals, if it has BPA, BPB, like so many chemicals that are leaching into your skin and through your skin, into the bloodstream, that's going to affect your organs. That's going to affect your lungs, your heart, your breast tissue.
Oh my gosh. Also candles, right? Scented candles.
100%. Anything scented that's not essential oils natural can cause harm.
Wow. Right. So, sorry, say that again, Dr. Hadar?
Pluggings in the wall, like Febreze.
Right.
You drive in an Uber and they have those Febreze things.
They make me so sick.
I know that, like, my eyes start burning. I'm starting to see. I just want to get out of the Uber, right? I'm like, how do I?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm also just thinking about those years people spent in masks, surely with the plastics and microplastics right up against
China.
From China, exactly.
So
before we go on to kind of the next point you want to make, which I assume is kind of how we avoid this and what it does to us. this is going to sound a little weird, but I've noticed for sure in like Best Buy type stores, or where there are a lot of electronics and all
Right.
those EMFs, but also hot plastic, and people are around hot plastic all day, all day, all day. I've noticed a lot of feminization of men. And I'm not trying to be rude or mean,
And
but
boobs.
I noticed it totally. And, loss of, muscle tone, pale. I mean, that could just be being indoors, but, less facial hair. And it's like progressive, like you can see the same person month after month after month get
Right.
affected by these interiors. I also have noticed that with TSA, like the, the people who x-ray you, who are around those machines. Can you speculate about what that might be? Am I imagining it? What would you say about those
I
observations?
forgot to also mention seed oils, which people are eating more and more, and food colorings and dyes and sugars sitting under fluorescent lights.
No,
Why?
that's
And they are sitting under fluorescent lights. They are
right.
using all these perfumes that people are wearing all day.
Right.
They are using X-rays and machines and radiation and touching plastics and bag. Like they're just, of course, you're going to notice it more and more. And unfortunately, man boobs. Sorry, anyone who has that, I feel like so bad, but they're also getting xenoestrogens from their environment, from the food they're eating.
Well,
Food is a big deal. From these, again, hormones in foods, even
mhm,
soy and
mhm.
non-organic GMO soy products and corn and wheat and any foods and chicken that, and I've talked about chicken so many times and people are always like, why are you against chicken?
Right, right.
Hey everyone, it's Naomi Wolf, and I have a message. President Trump is in the process of what he calls draining the swamp, but many in the MAGA movement and the MAHA movement are asking if he'll expose the entire pandemic. There's enough public evidence for people to be concerned who injected themselves in what has turned out to be a massive experiment. If you were compelled to get the shot for work, travel, maybe you just trusted the system, check out this natural solution formulated by hero doctor Peter McCullough in collaboration with the wellness company. They just leveled up their original detox formula, and it costs $30 less. We are introducing the 3-in-1 Ultimate Spike Detox. It's now conveniently consolidated into a single capsule with 4 times more nattokinase, 500 milligrams of bromelain, and 500 milligrams of turmeric root extract. Nattokinase, an enzyme researched for its anti-clotting effects, may work to break down spike proteins. Combined with bromelain and curcumin, it provides a potent blend for detoxification and cellular support. Crafted with 100% natural ingredients, Ultimate Spike Detox is backed by research. It offers effective support for your cell's natural repair and recovery. Experience the only formula approved and used by Dr. Peter McCullough, a top freedom-fighting doctor who risked it all to bring you the truth. Head over to dailyclouthealth.com and use the code DailyClout to get 10% off plus free shipping. Again, that's dailyclouthealth.com and use the code DailyClout to get 10% off and get back to that pre-COVID feeling.
The most antibiotic fed animal and hormone fed animal, and then people are consuming it. And even if it's, I don't know, not grass fed, but free range, I still don't think it's healthy. I've read so many articles and pathogenic, carcinogenic, hormone disruptors. I just don't like it. But if you see what people are eating today,
Mhm.
what they are consuming, what they're putting on their skin, and I have so many patients that are like, their skincare products, I use one and I make it myself and I use it with natural oils and essential oils. That's it. You will never see a lotion. I make my own sunscreen. I just did a post today on Instagram about sunscreen,
Right.
DIY, do it yourself,
Good.
at home, ingredients that are completely natural, all organic, nothing, no parabens, which are carcinogens, no phthalates, which are coming from perfumes, no toxic sunscreen ingredients, benzenes, but like all kinds of stuff,
Right.
nothing, all natural. So when you are avoiding these non-natural chemicals. But if you are not avoiding them, and if you are consuming the foods, the plastics, and the meats, and the sugar, and you're drinking a Coke, and you're eating these burgers and the fries that are filled with seed oils, you are going to completely, create more. By the way, I've read an article, and I posted about that last week as well, about how seed oils are leading to estrogen positive breast cancers.
Oh God.
I mean, horrible. And these are articles that are not making up. These are in my Instagram. I have links I can share.
Please.
There's so much information out there that, back in the day, you'd see everyone is skinny, everyone's sitting on the beach, no phones, no sunscreens, no hats, nothing. They looked great. In my opinion, they were lean, they were healthy. They weren't eating all the junk that we have today, that the food in America is filled with it, versus, Europe, which only has a few ingredients, versus 100 ingredients here in one product. So
absolutely. Well, I have to ask Dr. Hadar, I'm sorry, did I interrupt you?
No, I just said so many factors, right?
Right. I have to ask, what is the thing in your skincare, before we go on? What is the one thing you make your skincare out of?
Honestly, argan oil, which is the golden oil, I love so much. And I don't wear makeup. I only wear eye makeup and a gloss. Never wear makeup. I don't like makeup because I feel like it clogs your pores and everything. And I use, essential oils, and I also use castor oil at night. Like, I have little hacks that I use every day, and I am in pre-launch for a skin product for scars, for stretch marks, for beautifying. It's going to be great, and it's all natural stuff.
I'm so glad, because that was literally that was my next question. And just to chime in, validating what you're saying, people who have followed kind of my journey of oh my God, what do we do? We're all, all our loved ones are poisoned, and looking into natural remedies. I too, we've talked about this, I'm sure, threw out 90% of what I had in my, it's a pain to do it, right? Because all that money into the trash can. But it was poisonous, I realized. And I literally use one or two things now, all of which you could pretty much eat if you had to. But tell me what are the symptoms, right, for men and for women of hormonal disruption? I mean, you talked about women's kind of premenstrual symptoms, headaches, and so on. What happens to men, and what happens to relationships? Sorry.
And men and women, low libido is a big deal now, and low testosterone. We're seeing that both in men and women. And so many men are walking with no libido, no sex drive, right? Low testosterone for men and women. More inflammation in their body. Their CRP, reactive protein, will be high. Homocysteines can be high. Testosterone is low. Progesterone is low for females. Estrogen, it depends where you are in your cycle and what years you're, how old and whatever the case is. But you're seeing so much of that, especially in men. You're also seeing breast cancer in men. I lost a friend years ago for breast cancer, and he was a guy. And a lot of it is emotional as well. Because when you hold on to emotions, there are two main organs that are going to manifest in that, in cancers and other diseases, are thyroid and breast.
Oh my.
So never want to hold on to things. You always want to get it out, speak it up, process it, work it.
Wow. And so what's causing, just practically, men now look so different than they did in my childhood and teenage years? I mean, you look at images, photographs of men in the 70s, and they, had the triangular torso, the narrow hips. Even men who didn't work out were wiry or, muscular, and they didn't have breasts, and they had facial hair and Adam's apples, and notice square jaws. And now it's very rare to see a square jaw. They have kind of almost pointy, round faces and pointy chins. I don't mean to pathologize men at all. It must be heartbreaking, but there's also this very distinct body type I see, especially in American men. There are countries where this hasn't happened to the food supply, but American men are really suffering, and many of them look uncomfortable, right? So they'll have, kind of breasts, right? But they'll also have kind of almost a pear-shaped body that men didn't used to have, wider hips, more fat in the buttocks, but not just from not being active, very little facial hair. What could cause that in just one generation?
Estrogen dominance coming from seed oil that most foods have now. And I'll give you an example. But let me first say what's causing it, and I'll give you another example. But seed oils in food, every restaurant, so many restaurants have it. If you go to True Foods, they say we do not use seed oils, which I love eating there because they're clean, and I don't feel like I'm pregnant when I'm done eating there.
Right.
3 days ago, I went to a delicious restaurant, Israeli restaurant. They opened in Boca here. Love that restaurant, but I ate just a tiny bit of bread. I know it's Passover and I shouldn't, but I had a bite, and I had all their salad and hummus, as Americans would say, and felt great. The next day, I was literally, I kid you not, 9 months pregnant. Like my belly was so swollen.
We've
I
all
felt
been
horrible, and I was like, "What is that?" And it's from the food the night before. It took me a couple of days to go back to not being pregnant again. But I mean, it's a shame that I go out and I can't escape those damn seed oils. And I don't doubt that they've used canola or sunflower oil in their food. Even though they use olive oil, I'm sure they mix it to make it cheaper.
Of course.
So when you're seeing men who are heavier and rounder, and they're not as manly, they're not lifting weights, they're not exercising, they're not sleeping enough, they're attached to their phones, they're probably on their phones too late at night, too early in the morning, instead of starting the day with mindfulness and breathing and breath work. They're, again, eating the seed oils, they're eating hormones and antibiotics in the foods that's not organic, like chicken, meat, beef, eggs. They're eating all the industrialized one instead of the organic grass-fed ones, right? And that would feed what they're feeding the animals and injecting the animals. The human is consuming it, and that's how they feel, and that's how their body is reacting. So their dinners, receipts, everything under the sun will affect it.
So this is catastrophic. Are you seeing in your patients this hormonal, deficit really playing out in relationships or in their home lives? And how does that manifest?
100%. I've had men who come to see me, or women to come to see me and complain, I don't want to have sex with my partner. I don't feel like it. I'm gaining weight. They don't want to look at me. That, like, people complain 100%. And, so I always look at what is the root cause? What is your lifestyle? What are you doing? Are you sleeping? Are you exercising? Are you eating clean? Are you drinking clean water? Are you detoxing? Detox the liver. Will detox excess estrogen. This is where also we have broccoli sprouts from the Wellness Company, which I love, because that sulforaphane, the active ingredients in broccoli sprout, will help detox excess estrogen from the body.
Okay, now I understand the connection with broccoli sprouts, which is our next subject. So just before we go on to broccoli sprouts, tell our audience, because a lot of people watching will be very worried, can people remasculinize and refeminize?
100%. Yes. Okay. Yes. So always start with a detox. And by detox, I don't mean a few days of detoxing and done, going back to, where you were. If you want to get different results, you're going to have to practice something different than what you're doing on a regular basis. Detox should be a lifestyle, not a one-time, one day, a few days and done. It should be a lifestyle of every day exercise, sweating, making sure your bowel movements are good and sufficient every day, like you're, excuse my language, pooping enough, right?
You can speak frankly here.
Making sure you're taking detox, and there's so many different formulas for liver detox. Broccoli sprouts, being the sulforaphane in a very concentrated pill, and the active ingredient being sulforaphane is extremely detoxifying. Any liver herbs and supplements that help detox the liver, your lymphatics, your gallbladder. Move your body. Make sure you sleep 7 to 9 hours, not 3 hours, not 4, not 5, not 6, 7 to 9 is ideal for your body to heal and detox. And there's so many other things you can do, but detoxing is a start. Taking care of your liver, taking care of your emotions too, and sunshine, exercise, sleep, sweat.
And so when your patients do things like this, their libido reignites. The men, do they actually like grow more facial hair, or what happens to the men? Do their breasts go away? Does their body composition change?
Yeah, lift weights. I recommend always lifting weights. You want to lift weights because that's going to create more testosterone in your body. Combination of cardio, which I'm a runner, a cyclist, a swimmer, I'm a triathlete, so I combine that with weightlifting, which I think is crucial. if men don't lift weights, that's where you're lacking in more testosterone. I think men who lift weights are not only better looking, in my opinion, they're going to be in a better, happier relationship where the woman is happy that, hey, my man has testosterone. Yippee yay.
Are men generally, like, I'm noticing websites and products for men, especially younger men, who seem to suffer more from this issue. Paradoxically, it used to be the other way around. There seems to be awareness among like millennials and Gen Z that men don't have enough testosterone. It's dropping. Right. They're trying to like hold on to their testosterone. Are your patients who are male more aware, oh, I've got to protect my testosterone, I've got to get it back?
Yeah. And another thing is they're putting their phone in their pockets. Guess what happens to
they're frying their testicles.
Exactly.
Oh, so exactly. Bad. So
where do you have 5G stickers to protect? When I cycle, this is always on my back, not this side. And I always have the stickers. So I've tested it. The EMF is super low when you have stickers on your phone, and the 5G to protect yourself. My Wi-Fi is always off and my Bluetooth are always off because I don't want the excess radiation on me.
Right.
I would like my body to be intact and healthy. And for men, I recommend that too.
You have to stay healthy and well at times like this. You know that I often have suffered from mobility issues, and now I don't. Part of my lifestyle is Native Path collagen. So Native Path's collagen formula is made with ingredients that are scientifically developed to increase bone mineral density, support tissue recovery, reduce wrinkles, enhance hair thickness, and strengthen nails. Who wouldn't want more collagen with all of these benefits? So right now, when you visit getnativepath.com/dailyclout, you can stock up on Native Path collagen for up to an incredible 45% off today, plus free shipping. Every order comes with a 365-day money-back guarantee. You can try it risk-free today. It is a single ingredient formula with no fillers, additives, or artificial sweeteners, and it's third-party tested for heavy metals, which makes sure that it is pure and safe. It's flavorless. You can add it to anything. I add it to my oatmeal. You can add it to coffee or smoothies. Its formula makes it more bioavailable, meaning it's absorbed more easily and mixes without clumping. And the best part is Native Path is offering amazing bundle deals, 3 or 6 packs at a fraction of the price of other brands. With over 4 million jars sold, 1 million happy customers, 8,000 5-star reviews, and a 365-day no-risk guarantee, Native Path is a trusted choice, and they offer an 800 number. You can ask any question. A real person is waiting to help. You can join a private Facebook community. I love these people. Share recipes, success stories. So that's getnativepath.com/dailyclout and start your experience of transformation today.
Again, don't sleep with it near your head. Turn it on airplane mode. Turn it away. Throw it out of your room. Don't leave it in your room. Then you can't sleep. You can't function. Eat, protein. Eat your vegetables. Eat your broccoli. Eat your detoxifying herbs. Again, exercise. So men are aware of it more, but some people are still clueless about what to do. That's where they come in for help. And I'm always like, I love guiding and helping as much as possible.
Well, that is such a blessing because the other thing I'm noting, and this is obviously for heterosexual couples, not for everyone, but I think, it is impossible, I think, for straight women to feel really attracted to de-testosteronized men. I mean,
exactly. Right. It's not attractive. In my opinion, I want a masculine man, right?
But I mean, that's we're mammals. I mean, we're set up that way, right? I mean, there's we haven't even talked about kind of the biochemical stuff and pheromones and so on, but yeah.
I also haven't even mentioned the role of vaccines in, taking away the masculine side in men and the feminine. And that's where a lot of the genders get confused now. So much of it because you're getting so much of the excipients of aborted fetus cells.
Oh my God.
Humans, whether it's a boy or a girl, going into your DNA, confusing you. If you knew what's in those adjuvants and excipients of vaccines, we can have a whole topic about just that. And you'd be like, yeah, I won't even.
Another thing. we have to talk about it, right? Are you saying specifically the mRNA vaccines or all
Yeah,
vaccines?
just all of them.
Because a loved one's allergist during the COVID said that I had to get a flu shot because I was around my loved one, and I was so psychotic and I resisted and I hated it. Finally, I did it just to be near my loved one and calm that person down. But I read the insert. It's a spaniel cell line. I had a female spaniel's cells inside of me, and I felt it. I felt the creepiness of it. And I've been reading this book, The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks, which is about this woman who died of uterine cancer, virulent uterine cancer in the early 50s, I believe, or late 40s, an African-American woman. And her cancer cells have been turned into this gigantic cell line called HeLa that is used to test all kinds of things, including vaccines. And I'm like, is this in the COVID vaccine? Is this in other vaccines? And it is involved in the processing of other vaccines. And then the aborted fetal cells, they're really in there. What the heck, Hadar? Why do you need that?
And, right. And there's also kidney canine and monkey, and there's animals, and and then we have aluminum in certain vaccines, and mercury, thimerosal, and we have polysorbate 80 and 20 that opens your blood-brain barrier, allowing that aluminum to get in your brain, leading to more Alzheimer's, autism, so many other things and causes that now finally RFK, thank God he's in office and helping us out to wake up humanity. He's investigating more into autism. And I've always known that, those vaccines, childhood vaccines from a 0 age getting, Hep B vaccine, is your child dealing with prostitutes or needles? Totally. Why do they need Hep B at day 0? When they're born? Why do they need multiple vaccines in one shot? Why? None of them have ever been tested for the schedule, for the amount at once, for safety and efficacy. When they say that they're safe and effective, you really have to think, what is safe and effective? Only the pockets that is making them very wealthy, but it's not the ingredients, that's for sure.
That is so nauseating. So are you saying all those vaccines that young people take now, like 72 in the schedule, are interfering with their gender identity?
100%. You're seeing more and more. I don't think I've ever seen before in the 80s or 90s any transgenders, anyone who wants to be this or that, listen, to each their own, but this has become, I don't know if to call it even an epidemic or what it is, but it's not normal. If you think about it, why are we losing our masculinity for men and our femininity for women?
Right. There's certainly male and female very clearly marked in the primate kingdom everywhere else, and even the mammalian kingdom everywhere else. But leaving that aside, there have always been a tiny minority of people who culturally assumed characteristics of the other gender, but in no civilization that I've studied, and I wrote my doctoral thesis about this issue along with gay and lesbian issues, never, ever, ever have people who were what we used to call cross-dressers or transsexuals or transvestites trying to state that they were the other biological gender, right? It wasn't that biological essentialism. But where I'm going with this is, what physical effect could these injections have on people to make them confused about gender identity? I don't get how that works.
Yeah. So again, if you're getting the aborted fetus cells with DNA from a different human, and let's say you're a baby born, you're a female, you're getting DNA from a boy, you're getting XY, suddenly your DNA starts confusing and you're like, wait, I don't feel normal in a female body. And this is my theory of what's happening. Again, if you're getting DNA from animals and humans, aborted fetus cells in your body, something is going to shift, something is going to integrate into your DNA and start changing it, just like the mRNA literally changes your DNA.
God,
definitely.
You're freaking me out, but I just
don't need to do that.
No, we have to talk about it. I just want to share an experience I don't think I've shared with you. Maybe I have, but forgive me for repeating it if so. When I had a laminectomy, which is a fusion of my lower back, L5S1, I woke up and felt different, right? I felt like there was another person who was part of me. It's not that I was another person, but I felt another personality, kind of implicated in my own. And it was male. It was an older man. It had different like interests and reactions, and like it was a whole like inside my consciousness there was another consciousness for a while. It faded, thank God. But then I found out, which I hadn't known. I don't think I would have been on board with it, or I would have had to give it a lot of thought. And there was no informed consent. But part of the laminectomy involved they applied a paste made of cadaver bones, ground up into a paste. Yes. So some poor old man was ground up into a paste.
Right.
He's now part of my spine.
You're giving me chills. You have felt it. You physically felt it. It's no joke.
Right. I felt it before my doctor told me that there was cadaver paste holding me together. And
why don't they tell you that prior to surgery? That should be informed consent. That should be known to the patient, agree or disagree.
Can I just say, you're Jewish, I'm Jewish? Jews don't do things like that, right? It's against our religion to, modify the body. You're supposed to return the body. I mean, not everything, as is, back to your creator. And you're certainly like, I'd have to think long and hard and talk to a rabbi, right? About, do I want a dead person to be used as a product and put inside my body? I mean, I'm grateful, don't get me wrong, but if there was a synthetic substitute, I would have wanted to know, before consenting to that. But I literally felt, gee, there's a nerdy, science-oriented, music-oriented, which I'm totally not instinctively, man who was born like in the 1920s in my consciousness, even in my physical being.
So fascinating. And did they confirm this was the type of person that they took it from, or
they didn't go that far, and I don't think they would have known, because the way manufacturing body parts works, it's I'm sure very abstracted. But I'll never forget knowing, that something had been added to me that wasn't me, but also wasn't like a material that wasn't human. There was some other human element. Anyway, horrible. And I believe it, right? When I had the spaniel cells, I was like, something's wrong, something not human is here. Like, I think our bodies are amazing healers, and we kind of return eventually to human, or return eventually to, not the old guy, but at the same time, this is a massive experiment, and the DNA fragments inside these injections, God knows if our loved ones are the same people. If you want me really to freak you out and give you nightmares, this chiropractor. No, I will if we can. No.
I have enough things that freak me out. But yes, go on, bring it.
All right. I hope it's not that bad. I went to a chiropractor in Reykjavik. I'm here in Iceland, and it had been found, the practice had been founded 40 years ago, and the founder chiropractor, who was an older person, said to the younger ones, I don't envy you new chiropractors, because the bodies you're working with post mRNA injection are totally different bodies. Do you have that information too, Dr. Hadar?
100%. This is where, this whole mRNA came and bombarded society, humanity, unfortunately caused too many fatal cases that I know, and that we study and we read and we see every day, and too many diseases, and strokes and heart disease and autoimmune disorders and MS and cancers and sudden death, and you name it. I've seen it, I've heard it, I've read about it. Every day there's something. And this is where, even if you're not vaccinated, unfortunately, so much of the shedding has happened, and it's a real thing. And back to, irregular menstrual cycles, I even had mine become irregular by being exposed to people who are vaccinated during COVID vaccines. And I was like, am I in perimenopause? I think I'm still too young for that, but like, what's going on? So many women have either stopped their cycles, have had horrible cycles, bleeding for days, bleeding after menopause.
Oh my gosh.
Menopause is a year exactly. If you are not menstruating in 1 year, if you haven't, then you're in menopause officially. But if you're menstruating suddenly after 5 years of being in menopause, there's something wrong. Totally. Women I know have had that happen.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure I told you about the chart in the Pfizer documents that they created, showing tens of thousands of women in each line this many, 15,000 women bleeding every day, 10,000 women 2 periods a month, 7,500 women no periods, 8-year-old children, girls bleeding, 85-year-old women bleeding, women passing tissue, hemorrhaging. I've never seen anything as chilling as that, and you're seeing it in practice. So what can people who are unvaccinated but having symptoms do from shedding or from whatever contact or
so the wellness company, sorry.
Go ahead.
The wellness company, this is one of the products I love the most, and I've been taking it. I'm not vaccinated, but the wellness company, Dr. McCullough, came up with the spike support and the ultimate spike support. And this one has the nattokinase and dandelion greens, which work synergistically. And the dandelion greens really help prevent from the spike protein to adhere to the ACE2 receptor, which holds the spike, and allow it to spread in the body. It also has the green tea, the Irish sea moss, selenium, and other ingredients here that are synergistically working to help not only break down the spike protein, because the spike is really the problem in that injection. Right. One of the big problems, right? We also have SV40, Simian virus 40, which can lead to cancers, unfortunately. This is why we've seen so many turbo cancers. But the spike support itself really helps break down the spike protein, break down clots and microclots, which are a big deal. As we've seen so many strokes today, this really helps break it down and helps inflammation in the body and your cellular level. So I've been taking it for 1.5 years or more. Again, I've had, not felt great being exposed to people I've treated and traveling and family and you name it. And this really has helped. It helps your brain fog. It helps your energy. It helps the inflammation. It also helped, in my opinion, my platelets were higher at some point, and that's what leads to clotting, right? And then they dropped after taking this. So this really does magic, and there are a lot of studies coming out of the wellness company, Dr. McCullough, and the other doctors on the medical board who are doing the studies, and they're showing this is really effective. That and the ultimate spike support, which also has turmeric and bromelain, which also helps the inflammation and the blood.
I'm so glad that something exists. I mean, I spoke in Reykjavik to this country. Iceland is almost 100% mRNA vaccinated, and people are scared. And they just wanted to know, what can we do? And I was relieved to be able to say, this is what we've learned, and our sponsor has, these products as well. But gosh, thank God for Dr. McCullough and his team. Well, let's go.
And then, of course, sweating every day, exercising, getting out there. But combine it with that, of course, if you're pregnant, we have the one for children, that's chewable without the nattokinase, because that is contraindicated if you're pregnant. So this is not a medical advice, but if you do have questions, you can contact us. Again, and if you're on blood thinners, also advise with your doctor, but we do telemedicine with the wellness company. You can ask questions, but this is great.
I'm going to reorder. Now, in our last topic, I'm just going to share, I've been dealing with some health issues. It's no secret. I have a neurological condition, spina bifida occulta, and that's one reason, in addition to what I learned from the Pfizer papers, that I've been so passionate about finding alternative ways to stay healthy. And I turned to you for advice, and I wanted to share a little bit. I won't share everything, but I want to share and ask you a few questions about your method, because it's so fascinating. So you and I were not even in the same room or clinic. You're in Florida, I was in Brooklyn, but I sent you some samples. I'm not going to go into every single sample, but blood and another thing. Okay, fine, urine. And then it was analyzed by a lab, and then you analyzed the results, and you shared with me what was going on with me. And your description was so alarmingly accurate about a number of things. For instance, you knew that I had very high inflammation in my body, and the X-rays and MRIs of a hip injury that I'm dealing with also show very high inflammation, around that injury. But you saw it from my blood, right, which was completely trippy. And you also advised me on my diet, changing my diet from what you saw in my blood. And so basically, and I've been taking your advice, and I've changed my diet, and I'm doing what Dr. Hadar told me to do. And every time we sit down, I, skip the bacon, skip the sausage, because I was doing and I'm doing much more Mediterranean diet, and I feel much better. I'm not 100%. I still have a injury, which is mechanical, but I'm feeling like I feel the healingness of it, right? And I'm feeling more energy, less fatigue. But talk a little bit about this method, because I'm just totally blown away that you were able to tell from my blood in urine, what was going on with me in a way that's so holistic. So please explain that for people, and
Sure.
we can find out more about it.
Yeah. So I look at blood, I look at urine, I look at all kinds of tests that you do in the lab, but I also look at tongue.
That's right.
Right. And I look at, history. If I'm in person, then I feel pulses as well. So I do Chinese medicine diagnosis, which is facial, ears, tongue, pulse, and I do internal medicine, functional medicine, root cause diagnosis. So when I look at the labs, like for example, if I see, high inflammatory markers like CRP, C-reactive protein, higher than normal, a lot higher than normal. If I even in the range, but on a higher end, if I see thrown off thyroid or antibodies of thyroid, if I see homocysteine levels or any cardiovascular that are high, that can indicate, do they have a genetic mutation like MTHFR? Do they have anything going on? Are they low in B vitamins? Are they low in D vitamins? Usually if they have, high homocysteines, high CRP, especially high homocysteines, they will be deficient in the B vitamins. And I'm not just talking, B9 or B6 or B12, most Bs. Although B9, for example, folate, which is the kind of B9 we want to take, is methylfolate, never folic acid, because most people, or a lot of people, I think 40 or 50% of the population, have a genetic disorder called MTHFR. Which can really throw your body off and lead to cardiovascular disease, amongst other issues. So when I look at the blood and I kind of see the whole picture, and then I look at your tongue, and then I ask you the history of health and what's going on, what's your lifestyle? What are you eating? Is it feeding your inflammation, or are you lowering it by food? Because you can feed your disease or really take care and nurture your health, right? Nutrition is so much of it. Sleeping, supplementations, lifestyle, sedentary lifestyle, exercise, all these things are all part of it. So I look at the entire picture, and I look at the root cause, and I look at the blood, and I look at the tongue, and I formulate the diagnosis, and accordingly I treat with lifestyle recommendations, supplement recommendations, detoxing, gut health, parasites, metals, lowering inflammation, cleansing. So much you can do in a natural way, and so much you can diagnose from functional medicine plus Chinese medicine combined. It's such a beautiful way to do it. So
it's a gorgeous methodology. And just a note, I'm obsessed with inflammation because this injection is so inflammatory. The mRNA injection is so inflammatory. And even though I'm not vaccinated, there's another thing going on with me that was causing inflammation that I wasn't even aware of, that you diagnosed. And it is so amazing. Like, pain is inflammation, right? Inflammation is pain, can be pain. And so to eat I thought I was eating a really clean, healthy diet because I was eating keto, but I was deficient in B vitamins and D, which amazed me, right? Because I'm in the sun, and I'm not, I'm staring at all of you PWC people have me out in the sun, sunning my stomach and my thighs. That's what one of your colleagues said, as much as I can, like I literally do. But it was incredible to, how can I put it, to have you do such a specific and kind of internal map, and then give me a direction to change my internal environment to facilitate healing, right? And I can feel that the more I do, the Mediterranean diet thing, I think of you, Dr. Hadar, when I sit down, at the buffet.
Good thoughts.
I have to add the cucumbers, the tomatoes, the leafy greens before anything else happens. Dr. Hadar is in my brain now.
Sitting right here as the angel whispering to you what's to eat.
But it does, I can feel that it makes a difference with pain, right? Whereas if I didn't do that, there would be more inflammation, more pain. And so I just want to, I'm sure it's a long journey and we're just at the beginning of it, but
a lifestyle too. Yeah.
Sorry, say that again.
It's a lifestyle. It's a complete lifestyle. Right.
I just want to tell people about it. You really should try this with Dr. Hadar or someone she refers you to, because it was just astonishingly kind of correct, weirdly correct and useful. And is there anything else we should cover in our time together?
Oh, I mean, I think we covered a lot. I'll give my little last piece of advice for anyone who wants to, help kind of better their health. And so start your day with lemon water or lime water, right? Alkalize your body. That also helps lower inflammation. Mm-hmm. So you want to go straight to your coffee when you get out of bed.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you don't want to. Oh, wow.
No. Okay. You want to start your day with warm, clean water, lemon, lime, fresh squeezed, drink it, hydrate, alkalize. Get outside, get sunshine in your eyes in the morning, on your skin, bare skin, right? Mm-hmm. I try not to wear sunglasses first thing in the morning. I take my dog out for a walk and I stopped wearing sunglasses first thing in the morning because I want to get that light. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day too, when I go running, of course, and cycling, of course, I wear my glasses to protect my eyes, but getting the sunlight, not directly staring at the sun. Do not go and do that at home. This is not an experiment. Do not go ruin your eyesight, but get the sunlight. It's important to get that, and for the melatonin production for you to sleep better at night too. And the sunlight does so much, for hormones regulation as well as serotonin production, melatonin production, neurotransmitters, energy, so much, right? You feel better when you're out in the sun.
For sure.
And exercise and, hydrate. Make sure you move your body, eat your greens, just a few things that can really help make change if someone is not feeling well. And, there's obviously more to it, but just a couple of tips for the end of this beautiful conversation.
So gorgeous, so inspiring. I just have to ask before we sign off, how in the 1930s, there was this craze of health, colonies where people basically lay in the sun naked. I'm not trying to be inappropriate. Here, but was there something to it? If we've got a private backyard or whatever, is it a good idea to sun all over? Seriously.
And I hear today, and there are a few doctors that preach it on social media, where they say, go lay out naked and open your legs and let that sun beam on your bum. All right. Something to it, I personally don't do it. I think my neighbors would be really mad if I did it, but go outside, get your sun on your skin, least amount of clothing, least amount of, obviously it's better for you. Don't burn yourself. And certainly do not apply toxic sunscreens on your skin, because remember, what you put on, in, and around your body will affect you positively or negatively. So if you're putting chemical sunscreen on your skin, that's going to lead to issues, and that's going to block from the sun to really get absorbed in your body and get that vitamin D that you need also.
Well, Dr. Hadar, as we let you go, will you maybe after we sign off, share your Instagram link or your recipe for non-toxic sunscreen? Because then we can all be, in some private place worshiping the sun, however we choose to. Right. With non-toxic sunscreen. Well, on that note, I'm going to go wander in the fields and woods and commune with nature and get lots of light and fresh air and eat my greens and remember Dr. Hadar at every meal because I'm feeling better and better thanks to you and the Wellness Company. Thank you, our wonderful sponsors. And Dr. Hadar, where do people find you?
They can find me on Instagram, dr.hadarsofia. So it's dr.hadarsofia, or The Vibrant Glow, which is also my website, which will also take you everywhere. The Vibrant Glow. And then, of course, twc.health. You'll find our website. I'm one of the holistic doctors on there. And message me if you need. And find me on Instagram, follow me, and you'll see all my fun posts, especially today's post on sunscreen, natural, how to make it yourself.
Fantastic.
I don't get that, but I do make it for fun.
I can't wait. All right. Thank you so much again, Dr. Hadar. It's always wonderful to talk to you. See you next time. Take care.
Take care.
Bye.